moving on to MMA, which you guys all really watch us for.
Really
you know
short.
what I'm saying? Except you guys don't know because we cut this video in half. Yeah. UFC 154 is tonight. Before I talk about UFC 154, down here in the description link is the Blaze, our Blaze fan page. You can go there and you can win some free stuff. And this month, we're giving away a Rockform iPhone or Samsung Galaxy S3. God dang, these phones are getting complicated to say. Case. And they're pretty cool because they have a magnet on the back of them, so you can kind of... Actually, when I'm cooking, I put my iPhone actually to the refrigerator.
Don't you mean mines?
I put mines on the refrigerator. And they also have this really cool gadget mounting device that you put on your car, so you can kind of, boop, mount your car like you would a navigation system.
Wait, mount your car?
Mount the phone to the car like a navigational system. And I'm done with that shit. So anyway, UFC 154. Yes.
Haven't you mounted enough people?
Jimmy's talking right now, and the funny thing about it is he's saying shit. But it's funny. I'm going to tell you guys this. Jimmy's in the studio with us today. Right.
Hello.
But the thing is that George fucking has the other mic and he didn't bring it by accident. And you know what? Jimmy
it wasn't an accident.
Yeah, Jimmy. Yeah, Jimmy is talking, excited and shit, and no one's hearing fucking thing he's saying. Like he's over there smiling. I'm like, nigga, no one's hearing. Right.
Killing has come too. Fucking destroying my right eardrum.
Right. Anyway, all right.
I'm gonna tell you straight up. We had, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, about 8 or 9 people up in Kevin's house tonight.
Yeah, there was a
And I'm going to tell you right now, and look, it's not a knock on MMA. 6 of us were talking about football all the way up until the Hendricks fight.
Yeah.
And it's not that we dislike the sport. It's just really hard to get that involved in this when you had so many college games going on tonight.
I will go. Yeah, there was a lot of college football's just been rolling, but we will go to the card and we'll talk about some of the things that were interesting about the card. Starting with the preliminary card, I'm going to go to the Patrick Cote fight. It's Alessio Sakara, and that was
going to be a soliloquy because I have no clue.
Well, what had happened was Patrick Cote catches him and hurts him. He hurts him. It hurts, and then and if I'm pronouncing the name wrong, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
So, but
on the preliminary card. Who cares?
Sakara manages to weather it, and then catches Patrick Cote, gets him in trouble, and hurts him. And Cote goes to the ground, goes to the camera, and he kind of wraps his body around his leg. And while he's wrapping himself, he's hurt, but he's kind of holding on.
Right.
Alessio just hits him 1, 2 to the back of the head, 3 to the back of the head, 4 to the back of the head. And the ref
lets it go.
And this is the thing that fucked me up about the fight. The ref is going like this.
Is it the woman ref?
No, it was I forgot his name. Migliotti or whatever the fuck it is. Migliotti or whatever. I believe that's who it was. But he's sitting there watching this happen. He's just sitting there watching him throw 6 punches to the back of the head. The fight's over. He stops the fight. Okay, he never tells the guy to stop or warns him or anything. The guy loses for disqualification, which he should have.
Wow, yeah.
But I didn't understand why the ref did not jump in and say stop and give him a warning. Because the guy probably would have won the fight. So I think that's going to be a big issue. It was really strange. It was fucked up. I'm sure a lot of people out there watching this saw that.
Well, yeah, the few that were, I guess, watching.
Yeah.
Patrick Cote, I mean, how far has he fallen? He's on the prelim now, the first fight of the night?
He's on the prelim. And there was a lot of people. I mean, Chad Grigg was on the prelim. I mean, there was, Matthew Riddle was on the Facebook card. I mean, it was
Facebook card.
Yeah, Facebook card. So, I mean, and they're going to have a Twitter card next month.
Okay.
Yeah. And then they're going to have a MySpace one, and that's when shit gets real ugly.
Just tell me when Denny's and Walmart fights are, and I'll show up for those.
Yeah, in the Tumblr card. So, anyway, the main event, the main card, started with Pablo Garza versus Mark Hominick. And
Scarecrow.
The Scarecrow, dude. And what did you think about that fight?
Scarecrow dude is nasty.
The Scarecrow is fucking
is
nasty.
Huge for his weight class.
He is fucking. He was nasty, and he resembled the guy from Ferris Bueller's Day Off who took their car, the parking garage attendant from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Do you guys remember that movie? Or
I remember the movie, but I don't remember the guy who was driving the Porsche.
Yeah, the guy. He's the one. He was the one that was driving the Porsche around.
Yeah.
Like that. He looked a little bit like him in the face, but I hadn't seen this guy a lot from this guy, and this guy was actually pretty fucking nasty, man. I mean,
well, he was just too long for Hominick. He was bottom line. Hominick couldn't get inside at all.
I mean, with that being said, Hominick, what has he dropped? Like he was on a roll there. But
well,
now,
I know in his last 3 fights, he's probably racked up at least 4 or 5 hematomas.
He's had 4 straight losses. Do you realize that?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I thought it was something like that. He was on a roll, but he's
well,
just
I say he's going to be on a prelim card next, maybe a Facebook or Tumblr card.
Yes. Now, that was it could be. George and Jimmy will be sharing a mic.
Mm-hmm. It's not the only thing we share.
It's pretty bad.
Just
Rafael Dos
Anjos?
Anjos, right? Fought Mark Bocek.
Yeah.
Do you remember seeing that fight? Or were you talking about Oregon getting their brakes beaten off?
Dude, I was about 6 slices in at that point.
Right. And he means pizza. Another uneventful fight in my opinion. Once again, we're not knocking the fights. We're just telling you the way we saw it. And I'm sure some people...
In other words...
Yeah.
We didn't see it. So
yeah, it was a decision. It was a unanimous decision.
I think at that point we were talking about how
right.
Baylor was absolutely beating the piss out of K-State.
Right, and then right after that there was another snoozer, which was Francis Carmont versus Tom Lawyer, and it was a split decision.
Carmon.
Carmon. I don't say the T. Right. So those were the first 3 fights of the main card, and then
Dude,
the fight that I wanted to see happened.
Best fight of the night.
And that was Johnny. I can't get past TSA Hendricks, right? Versus fucking Martin Kampmann. And you know what? I've been very high on Johny Hendricks. I packed a lot of him in that fucking one hit tonight. Okay, I love this guy.
And his one hit.
Yeah, his one hit.
He one hit Martin Kampmann.
Dude, and people can say what you want to, but about Johny Hendricks, it's lucky punches. No, it's not.
No,
it's not. It's not fucking lucky punches when he's flooring everybody. It's not lucky punches when you knock out a guy that's 3 inches, got 3 inches on you in height, and he did it to he also did it to John Fitch, who also he gave up about 3 or 4 inches.
And by the way, for you people who goes, but he's not a wrestler. He was a 2-time national champ at the Oklahoma State University.
Oklahoma State. I think you guys are familiar with Oklahoma State's wrestling program. It's pretty fucking nasty. So
I would say this puts him in line to fight GSP. But all they want to do tonight is talk about after the fight is how GSP should fight Anderson Silva.
Yeah, and it didn't seem like GSP was really high on that shit.
No.
You know what I'm saying? But anyway, it was not much to talk about as much as I love the fight. And Johny Hendricks is just on a fucking roll. He's on a roll.
Yeah, his left hand is nasty. He just comes at you. He's coming full force. He's going to hit you, and it was a short punch. And I'm telling you, man, that left hand is a lunesta.
Dude, he'll take one to give one.
Yeah,
he'll take one.
Right.
He'll take one.
Yeah. And it's it's funny lately. We haven't even seen any of his ground game because it hasn't even gotten to that point.
First of all, we've only seen him in his last 2 fights or whatever for basically a minute.
Yeah, he just fucking crushes people. That shit is good. Now.
I want to send out my condolences to the Hostess brand.
That's fucking upset.
For everyone my age, we grew up on these. We are no longer going to be able to eat them.
No more Hostess.
Unless you go to eBay.
Yeah.
And people are hawking Twinkies on there like them bitches are made of gold.
As my good friend Frankie put on Twitter, he goes, when he heard that Hostess finally folded, he felt like he was kicked in his snowballs. Come on, man. You got to give him that. That's just good, sure.
Boom, boom.
Anyway, speaking of
the final fight.
Yes.
The fight we all
have been waiting for. All you huge GSP fans
But before we get on to this, can somebody please explain to me the point of having an interim title if you never defend it?
Yeah.
Like the interim champ. The point of being an interim champ is you step in and you're supposed to do what the champ should be doing, which is defend the belt.
Right.
How come the interim champ didn't defend his belt until the champ came back?
It's UFC, son.
Like, log jam. Why?
Yeah, it was just odd.
Because I'm going to tell you right now, if Condit has to fight Hendricks,
no boy,
that's a wrap.
Yeah, I think that's the guy who should fight GSP next. But anyway, we'll get to the fight. Obviously, Jimmy, what did you think about? This is the thing I'll say real quick. I was very impressed with GSP. It was a tough fight. Condit fought a great fight. He hurt GSP at one point in the 3rd round. GSP does what he typically does. But to come off an ACL injury, to have been that far removed from the ring for that long, and to show that much aggression. He showed a lot of aggression. Now, I don't know if he showed that much aggression because Greg Jackson was not in his corner.
I have my own theory is that he did. I mentioned it to George. I think that he always used the same TriStar gym as his main training gym as far as getting his preparations for the fight. And he would go to Greg Jackson basically for like an overlay of strategy. And he was more or less a strategy person.
Right.
And I don't know if it was coincidence or if it was just, that he didn't work with him this time. But to me, I liked the strategy and aggression that I saw from him. It's something we hadn't seen in a long time. I mean, if you watch that fight, he was constantly the one coming forward.
He was
coming forward, pressing the action, and even at times when I think all of us even said there at the end, we thought that he would definitely, in the old days, have taken him down and just, and basically just wasted the last,
3 minutes of the fucking round.
He was engaging Condit for a few minutes in the fifth round that he really was putting himself potentially in danger.
Right.
The other thing I was not shocked, well, I guess shocked by. I mean, GSP was very aggressive on the ground. I give him that. But I was surprised at how Condit never really tried to get GSP out of his guard. Like, he's butterflied up and he's got his heels dug into GSP's hips. Why not push him away and try to get back standing? Because that was your only shot at winning the fight.
I think what surprised him, and at least in the interview, is what I could get out of it, was how strong he was. He just was, I think he knew that he was going to be strong. He just wasn't aware that he wasn't going to be able to really do anything when GSP was on top of him.
Yeah, he just did. I mean, and I will say to Condit's defense, on the bottom, he did pretty well. Like, he managed to do.
Okay, but in the fifth round, when you have to knock the guy out.
I know that. In the fifth, you're absolutely right.
But he even did it in the fourth, and he did it in the third. And I understand. I'm sure
there's got to be a sense of urgency.
There's got to be a huge mountain to climb. But here, if I'm in his corner after the third round,
right,
Condit should have spent as little time as possible, and it seemed like he kept trying to transition for. Look, by the fourth round, both these guys are too bloody and too sweaty to pull off probably a really
any
good
type
submission.
of submission, right? Yeah.
So I would expect more of an urgency for Condit to try to escape from the bottom position, because a lot of the times he was in a better position. Now GSP was constantly getting past one leg, and he was constantly passing. But there were times when he had both of his heels, like he could have easily butterflied up, pushed him off, and then stood, and he just didn't.
Just didn't do it. Yeah.
And then in those last 3 minutes, in those last 3 minutes, dude, you just got to let. I mean, who cares if you get knocked out? It would look better if you were trying to knock him out in the fifth than trying to.
Now, what about round three? Who did you think won round three?
I had round three as a push.
Did you?
Yeah.
And a couple people in the house had it as a push. I had Condit winning round three, even though GSP ended up getting on top of him and controlling it.
To me, if you were able to give a push, there would be a push. But if I had to give a 10, I had to fight 49-46.
That's what I had to fight, 49-46.
Give a 10-9.
Yeah.
To me, I'm sorry, but
I
understand you have to give a 10-9. You do, but to me, I'll give that a 10-10 then. I don't know what to do, because Condit floors him early. GSP recovers to then take over the last 2 minutes. It's split into 5 minutes, and you could almost say they each had a 2 minute and 30-second domination. And if that's the case, how do you score that 10-9?
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Who do you give the 10 points to?
Well,
and if I did, I would have to give it to Condit because he scored. It's the flash knockdown.
What's next for both of the guys? What do you think?
I mean,
what do you think?
I don't want to see a rematch.
What is left? I mean, I think this is the thing.
Johny Hendricks.
Yeah, Johny
deserves a title shot.
There's nothing left in the welterweight division. This is where I think Dana White's got to stop farting around and say, okay, fuck it, Hendricks is next in line. Let's make the fight happen. Let's make the fight happen within 3 months, not fucking a year from now.
And then here's the other thing. Even though Kampmann got absolutely destroyed tonight, why not let him or Fitch fight Condit? And then I know I said John Fitch, whatever. Is he once he's done his drug suspension?
Yeah.
But if you push Diaz, let me rephrase that. From the Dana White standpoint of how to promote a fight, Diaz should have the next title shot, right?
Yeah.
But for some reason, he doesn't think Diaz should get the next title fight. Right. So let Diaz fight either Kampmann or Fitch, and then if he beats either one of them, then he fights for the title.
Right.
But per what Dana's been doing lately, why doesn't Diaz fight for the title right now?
Yeah. I mean, who knows?
I love the answer to that.
I'd love to see that fight. I would. But I right now, as much of a fan as I am of Diaz, and I think Diaz is a good match for, GSP, I think Johny Hendricks deserves it.
I agree. I think Hendricks definitely deserves the next title shot. Diaz is on suspension, and You know,
and I think he's the best.
Yeah, I think he's. You know, to me as a GSP fan, I thought that Condit was going to be the toughest matchup for him out of anybody in the welterweight division. I mean, I like Carlos Condit. I'll cheer for him against basically anybody else.
Right.
I think he's a good guy. I think you could see that, you know, at the end of the fight. I just thought that he would be the toughest matchup, and I think it was a tough matchup.
Oh yeah, it was
for
definitely
GSP.
a tough fight.
The others, I think GSP will win, and I'm not saying that he's necessarily going to finish the fight. I'm just saying I think it will be.
How's he going to beat Johny Hendricks?
You know, for one, we don't know about Hendricks' cardio.
He is. I mean, a two-time national Olympic wrestler. We know about his cardio.
Well,
he has cardio. You don't become a two-time national wrestler without having cardio. So now, tell me how GSP is going to beat him.
When was he last wrestling?
Tell me how he's going to beat him, and don't say cardio. Tell what game plan.
He's going to beat him the exact same blueprint that he's beaten the 23 guys that he's beaten. He's going to take them down.
If
he's going to jab them on their feet.
If he stands up like he did tonight, for as long as he did with Condit, he's going to get knocked
that's why they're going to have the fight. And you know what? People said that about Condit.
You honestly think they're going to have the fight?
And it's ended the same way.
I will almost bet you that GSP does not fight Johny Hendricks.
You know, to me, the best comment out of all the 9 people that were here tonight was your friend Joey. When at the end of everything, he said, "You know what? We've seen this how many times before, and it looks the same." And you know what? To me, that's the sign of somebody who's just, I mean, that's the sign of a great athlete. I mean, they're putting on the same performance.
Well, yeah,
no
you're
matter
right.
Who.
Because the
and
thing
you know
is,
what? To say that a guy is coming back from a knee surgery, and we've seen this before.
That's
when you
impressive.
see greatness.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just you know. I mean that
because
summed it all
somebody.
up.
The thing is that you at some point or another, like, and you're right, Jimmy. Because at some point or another, and I'm not. It's not.
I'm saying that Johny Hendricks can't knock him out. Hell, he could come out there and hit.
But there's always been somebody that says, okay, maybe this person can beat GSP. Maybe this person can beat GSP. But the problem is everybody says he's got to. It seems like there's an easy blueprint to beat him, but nobody seems to be able to do it.
I'll play the opposite, and I'm the same opposite with Anderson Silva. I would love for somebody to come out and beat Anderson Silva.
Right.
And you know what? We hear, oh, this guy's got the plan. This guy's got the... You know what? We've said that many times, and you know what ends up happening?
Right.
He walks out of the cage.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'd call that a strut.
Right.
That guy struts. He walks on golden clouds.
Yes, pretty much. Anyway, I don't think GSP is really. I could tell by it when Joe Rogan asked him
to fight Anderson Silva.
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing I was impressed with, and I said this at the end, I was surprised at how heavily muscled GSP was, and his cardio still held up.
Yeah, and
because he's not normally that big, and that motherfucker's traps were humongous, and his quads, holy shit.
Yeah, he's thick.
Yeah, and he's not normally that thick.
Yeah.
So he's done a shit ton of training, and I bet the next GSP you see, he's trimmed down some. He won't be carrying as much muscle.
Right.
Because he says he normally doesn't do that much resistance training.
Yeah.
So that's going to change.
In any cost, he was fucking impressive. I mean, I'll give it to him. Like, sometimes we'll bash him because this fight's boring.
I was surprised at how aggressive he was, and I was complimentary. I was glad to see him be that
and
aggressive.
There was, what's funny? And there was no way he couldn't be aggressive against Condit because Condit, working from his back, and I'll say this again, he was crafty. Like, if you sat there and slept, if you tried to sleep on Condit or just lay on him, that wasn't going to happen. He was either going to push you off or fucking put you in some type of submission. So, anyway.
So, all right, real quick. In a perfect world, if this is Dana White's world, GSP is going to fight Anderson Silva next. In a perfect world, if it's up to Dana White,
GSP and Anderson will meet because I believe Anderson only has one more fight probably on his contract,
maybe one or two. And Anderson's already said I want to fight sometime next year in 2013. So GSP gets to sit on a belt for another entire year, probably not even fight in his weight class. So do we get to see another interim? I'm like, what Dana White is doing is ruining his own sport by doing things like this. If he pushes for this super fight, then strip GSP of his belt, make Hendricks fight. I don't give a shit if it's Jimmy's mother, Nate Diaz, Kwame Brown. I don't give a fuck.
I think what he has to do is just make it. Like, I mean, obviously when Silva goes up to light heavy, he fights certain people. You know, he fights them and, he fights these guys and he holds his middleweight belt. But I think the thing is the time frame. Like, it's like you fight. I think when it gets to be 7, 8, 9 months without you fighting, I think that becomes a problem. And I think that's what the problem is.
And here's the other thing. How many fights does GSP have left? Because I'm gonna tell you what, after tonight, it didn't look like he could have literally gone, it's been fun.
Yeah.
Handed the belt back and said deuces. That's just the wavering in his voice. He's like, the ring rust, I could literally see him maybe fight 2 more fights and him be like, I'm tired of getting hit in the head.
Yeah, well, it's time.
Because him and Anderson have so many ventures outside of the ring that are paying way more.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking Under Armour and Burger King. Yeah. But how long would they hold those sponsors if they're not fighting?
Those two right now are globally recognized faces. Everyone in Canada and everyone in Brazil will love to see fucking Anderson Silva and GSP.
Yeah.
And even in the States, because we're heavy into MMA. Well, we're getting heavier in MMA.
Right.
Well, I don't know. It's just weird.
Right.
I don't know what's going to happen. I hope he pushes like these guys to fight.
Yeah.
Like either get these guys to fight and get it over with, or get GSP back in the ring and get him to fight the next guy.
Well, anyway, you guys let us know your fucking thoughts. It's fucking like ass late in the morning. We're filming. Usually film on Monday nights, but we did this shit right after the fucking event tonight. And I'm ready to fall the fuck out.
See you, bye.
Deuces. Later.